the information will give you some knowledge, but it's the application of knowledge that yields the visceral experience, okay, that you can claim as having and knowing for yourself. So you're either going to allow your excuses and stories to drive your life, or you're going to allow your vision, your passion, and your purpose to propel you forward towards it. I happen to love business. And I was taught many, many years ago that when you do the right things in the right order, some of you finished this for me, at the right time, then you can have predictable results. And business can be the financial road to financial freedom, or the royal road to financial freedom. And I was really blessed that when I was in my 19th year, I met my first mentor. And then in early 1980, I met my second two mentors, which I'll show you a picture of them in a moment, because very few people have seen these two guys. And they shared with me not just the importance of the inner game, mastering my beliefs and my habits and my perceptions and my paradigms, but they were the ones who gave me the gift of predictability. Now, I want to ask you a question. If for every dollar you gave me, I gave you $2 back, how many dollars would you give me? Would you borrow as many dollars as you could? Give you one, get two back. Give you one, get two back. Well, what if I shared with you that business is predictable when you understand how to put the pieces of the puzzle together and you paint by number consistently? Would that be fun, or would that be fun? Yeah. Being an entrepreneur can be and is the most rewarding position in the world, and at times can be the most frustrating. Last year when I talked about being a business owner, I said the number one characteristic of the business owners of this upcoming decade, the number one characteristic, does anybody remember what I said? Adaptability. How many of you would agree that we are living in times of change? Vast, crazy, fast, predictable, and unpredictable change. The only thing that's guaranteed right now is it won't be the same tomorrow. Agreed? And so one of the things that I learned many, many years ago, and I should have put one of Dina's franchises on here as well, and I'll share with you why in a moment. What does every franchise bank on in order to do what they do so well? Systems. Duplicatability of tried and true systems that have been tested in various markets in their local, regional, national, or international level, that anybody who's got a brain and the heart and passion and desire that will apply the blueprints can get a predictable ROE and ROI, return on energy and return on investment. And that's why people invest $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $500,000, $1 million to buy a franchise where somebody has already figured out where all the landmines are. And so you're paying not just for the blueprint, the paint by number, you're paying to know what not to do. Because that's extremely costly, would you agree? So when I got into real estate as a 19-year-old young man, my first mentor sat my little behind down and he gave me a script. And the script was really simple. He says, I want you to open up this book. And the book just had names of people, addresses, and phone numbers. And he says, we're going to start with the street behind our office. And I lived in Toronto, Canada at the time. And he said, you're going to call the first one at the top. And you're going to go, hi. And there was a script, and I just had to fill in my name. Hi, this is John Assaraf with Allen Brown Real Estate Company. We have somebody that's looking to buy a home in the neighborhood. Have you thought about making a sale? And if they said yes, I go, awesome. Can we come and take a look at the home today at 3 o'clock, or would 5 o'clock be better? And if they said yes, then I'd arrange for an appointment, tell Alan we have an appointment. If they said no, I would say, well, thank you very much. May I ask you another question before you go? Do you know of anybody in the neighborhood who's looking to buy a home or to sell? Because we have somebody, as I mentioned, who's looking to buy. If they said yes, I said, thank you so much. May we please have his or her number? If they said no, I'd go, thank you very much. Oh, by the way, since we're your local neighborhood real estate company, would you have any idea of when you might be thinking of selling so we could keep it in our file just in case we have a homeowner or a home buyer who wants to buy at that time? Now, I was 19. I had studied harder that script than I did anything else in high school. And by studying that script, just that one script, just calling 100 people a day, I had a sheet of paper with 100 boxes on it. Box 1 said $15, box 2, $30, box 3, $45, box 4, $60, $75, $90, and so forth, all the way to $1,500. And my goal was to get from number 1 to number 100, which is the number of people that I'd have to dial, which would then equate to speaking to a certain number of people, which would then equate to some of them wanting to buy or sell a home, which would then equate to me earning $1,500. And so I learned a very simple mathematical equation of know what to say if they say this, know what to say if they say that. And if you call 100 people, you're going to end up, through the law of statistics, as Glenn talked about earlier, with 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people that is going to, as a matter of fact, we were just thinking about selling our home. Or my sister's looking to buy a home in the neighborhood. If you find something, would you please let us know too? And in my first year of doing that, at 19, I took home just over $30,000. Now, that was a huge amount of money back in 1980, especially when my dad was a cab driver, made 25 grand. I'd like, wow, I died and went to heaven. And then my mentor, Alan Brown, said to me, great, you've got that down pat. Now, instead of calling people who may or may not be looking to buy or sell a home, I want you to now specialize. I was like, hey, I'm getting a promotion. I want you to specialize in for sale by owners. FSBOs, we used to call them. And for sale by owners were basically people who were trying to sell their home on their own. He said, well, these people have either tried to sell their home through somebody else and had either an experience that they weren't happy with, or the house didn't sell, and they want to try and save the commission, and maybe they think they can do a better job. Now, I have a new script for you. He says, now what everybody else tries to do is call these people and say, hey, here's who I am, here's the real estate company that I work for, and I'd like to talk to you about coming over to list your home. He says, they don't understand psychology. He says, when somebody's looking to sell their home privately, do you really think they want an agent to call them up and say, hey, let me come over and tell you how well I can list your house and sell it? They hear that from everybody. He says, what I want you to do is learn this script. And the script was, hi, this is John Assaraf with Allen Brown Real Estate Company. I've noticed that you're selling your home privately. Congratulations. Says it's really smart to try and save the 6% commission. However, I'd like to ask you a question. If I have a buyer that I cannot find them a home on the MLS, the multiple listing service, may I bring them over to your home and we can negotiate a fair commission where you get your amount of money that you want and I can make a little bit of money for bringing you a buyer that may be able to buy your home. Would that be okay? How many people do you think out of 100 said yes to that question? 99. I'd say, awesome, thank you. May I come over today at 3 o'clock, or would 5 o'clock be better so that I could be prepared to explain your home to our buyers in an intelligent, professional way as you would? How many people do you think allowed me in their home? 98 out of 100. And when I went over to their home, I had a beautiful package to give them on how to sell their home privately. I had a sign made up with, our company colors on it. On the back of the sign, it says, provided by John Assaraf, Allen Brown Real Estate Company. And I put their phone number that they had in the newspaper ad on the front of the sign, and I gave it to them as a gift, eliciting something called the law of reciprocity as soon as I went to their home. And in the package that I gave them on how to sell their home themselves, and I talked to them about having to ask buyers where they work, how much money they make, how much down payment they have, how to qualify them, how to make sure that they're not thieves scoping their house. 2 or 3 out of 10 would go, well, can you just do this for us? And then the other 6, I would follow up every 2-3 days, and I would pay attention to how they advertised, and I kept everything filed by their phone number, not their ad. Because people don't change phone numbers, usually they change ads, especially in the days when there was mostly landlines. And so when I would see a change in their ad, because I would cut out the ads in the paper, I had a system every day at 7:30. I would cut out the ads, put them on a 3x5 card, file them in a little 3x5 box, and I went through the ads, put the new ones in there, made calls right away. And if they changed the ad, I go, hey, way to change the ad. I really like what you did. Here's a couple of tips to actually even get it more into the marketplace. And so we took a totally different approach. And in 1981, my second year in real estate, my commission was $151,000 because now I specialized. I was a for sale by owner expert. Now, why am I starting off and sharing that with you? Because systems work. Processes work. Predictability comes from doing the right things in the right order at the right time and having the adaptability to change with the marketplace because you're aware of what's going on. And pros always know what's going on. So when we're talking about business, it makes no difference to me if you're a brand new business or you're a multi-billion-dollar business or you're $1 million or $3 million or $5 million. It makes no difference. What these gentlemen taught me, Walter on the left, Frank on the right, they were running, and they still are the most successful sub-franchisors in the world of any franchise, with about $60 billion a year in sales in their RE/MAX franchises around the world. They own all of Europe, New England, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Indiana, and all of Eastern Canada. And they were brilliant at teaching me the strategies and tactics of the game. And business is like a Rubik's Cube. You can play the game, the 2x2 Rubik's Cube that doesn't have a lot of variation. But if you want to start making $500,000, $1 million, $3 million, $5 million, $10 million, the number of variable moves change exponentially. When you go from having yourself as a solo professional to 3 employees or 5 or 10 or 50 or 100 or 250 or 500, the complexities of everything changes. Management changes, operation changes, sales changes, marketing changes, everything changes. And if you want to play the game of business at the highest level, then you have to either figure it out on your own or learn from individuals that have already played or are playing the game at the highest level and leapfrog your way there. So I want you to understand, one of the things I have a challenge with, especially in today's day and age, as Glenn said and everybody else said this, fast food thinking. I want it quick, fast, fast, fast. Well, guess what? Growing a business is not fast. There are things you can do to speed up the process. But what takes some time is to gain the wisdom of experience. And so if you're playing the game at the beginning, information is free. You can Google whatever you want right now, and the biggest library in the world is there for you. So there isn't anything you can't Google. There isn't anything. And so the information will give you some knowledge, but it's the application of knowledge that yields the visceral experience okay, that you can claim as having and knowing for yourself. The knowledge is not knowledge for knowledge's sake. The knowledge is the visceral knowing, okay, through the application and stimuli response of that application. And as you viscerally know it and apply it, you gain more skill. And then you gain more application ability, and then you gain more skill and experience, and then you refine the process over and over and over again to the point where you get up on top as you gain knowledge, skills, experience. All of this is a cycle to end up at the stage of business mastery. If you are serious about cashing that check, I want you to start being serious about mastery. Be serious about mastery. And in order to be a master at anything, you have to put in the time. You've got to start with what is the precision of your vision. What is the biggest vision that you can see for your business that you don't yet know how to achieve? I don't want you to set a vision and a goal for what you know how to achieve. That will not stretch you. That will not take any of your God-given abilities, all right, to really grow. Because when you set a vision and you get totally empowered by that vision, it will pull you towards it, and it will bring the people. You will learn the processes. You will learn the systems, because when you focus on that vision and you impress that into your unconscious mind, not only will 100 trillion cells of your body oscillate and vibrate at that frequency or vibration, neither one of which Mark likes me to talk about, but not only will 100 trillion of your cells oscillate at that, when you have that vision so clear, it serves as two purposes. Number one, to let you know all the things you need to say no to. All the things you need to say no to. Because everybody else has got their vision, their goals, and what they want your attention on. But if you are clear on your focus and you have your bullseye, then you know what to say no to. Because if it doesn't fit into what your vision is for your business, your life, your goals, then you're going to be distracted and have ADD, which is the polar opposite of the focus skill that you need in order to achieve your goal. So it tells you what to say no to as much as it tells you exactly what to say yes to. Is this product, is this service, is this person moving me towards the goal and the dream that I have set, that I'm willing to trade my life for, or is it moving me away from it, or I don't know, I need help? Either way, when you are clear on that vision, you are cognitively priming your brain, your very own GPS genius brain, to help you activate your left prefrontal cortex, which is going to come up with all of the ways you can achieve that goal. And as Mark said, you're either going to be playing in the right prefrontal cortex, which is going to tell you all the reasons why you shouldn't, give you all the evidence of your past, of where you failed, all the emotions that have occurred in the past that have been painful, hurtful, and have hurt you either, whether it's spiritually, emotionally, physically, or financially. But when you focus on your clarity of vision and you're trading your life for what you want to trade your life for, and you have the focus, the clarity of that bullseye, as I said today, it's never the bullseye's fault if you don't hit it. It's never the bullseye's fault. But if you are relentless on that bullseye and you train your brain to focus on that every single day, and you have the passion, then you will do what it takes in order to achieve that. And as I suggested in the morning yesterday, if you have the vision, the clarity, the focus, and the passion, and you have a big enough why, if you have a big enough why, then you will do whatever it takes, whatever you need to learn, whatever you need to invest, whoever you need to talk to, whatever fear you have to overcome, whatever uncertainty you have to overcome, whatever skill you need to gain, whatever knowledge you need to gain, wherever you need to fly or travel around the world, you will do it. So you're either going to allow your excuses and stories to drive your life, or you're going to allow your vision, your passion, and your purpose to propel you forward towards it. And you are at cause. you are at cause. If you don't like the results that you're having right now, your results are nothing more than the beliefs, the values, the perceptions, and behaviors from your past. So if you don't like the results, don't focus on the results you don't like. Focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Get out of the inflammation disease of choice called excusitis. That's the disease of choice, excusitis. And then get off of the drug. You've heard me say this before. The drug of choice is hopium. Hope is not a good strategy. I'm all for hoping and praying and having a solid strategy that you are adapting daily, weekly, monthly, and you're measuring. And so you start off with your vision, clarity, focus, and your passion behind it, because it's the passion that will fuel, okay? The passion is what will fuel your enthusiasm and theos, the God within you, to be so electrifying that people will want to follow what you're doing and what you're saying. And so if you don't believe in your product and your service, where it can really, and I don't mean kind of, sort of, maybe, really make a difference in people's lives, stop doing it. Stop compromising your life for something you don't love, you're not passionate about, and you don't value. Because as you heard Sharon talk about yesterday, and you've heard wonderful speakers talk about, words only represent 7% of the communication that happens between people. Have you ever walked into a room, nothing has been said, nothing, not a word, and you just know something's wrong? If you have, show me your hands. Yeah, how do you know? Well, you have this intuitive factor that picks up energy, picks up vibration. It's called intuition. The word feeling is a word we devised to reflect the conscious awareness of the vibration my body is in. Feeling is conscious awareness of the vibration my body is in. But not only is feeling the conscious awareness of the vibration my body is in, I can feel the vibration your body is in without a word being said. Because we're not just communicating at the verbal level of communication. We are communicating at the spiritual level of communication, at the emotional level of communication, and the physical level of communication. And whether you like it or not, or believe it or not, that is what is happening. I want you to know these three numbers, okay? Know these three numbers. 3% out of every 100 people, about 3 are looking for your type of product or service right now. Right now, they're typing into Google, they're looking on Yellow Pages, they're making an effort to buy your type of product or service right now. With 7 billion people on the planet, if you can get your message in front of those 3% that are ready to buy right now, do you think that might shorten your sales cycle? Absolutely. 17% have an interest but may not need it right now. However, if you get them into a sales process and you nurture that relationship over a day, a week, a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, you can develop the brand awareness, the trust and the rapport so that you have top of mind awareness in their brains and a slot in their brains for your type of product or your service. And guess what? If, let's say, you come to my website or you come to one of the landing pages, which I'll show you, and you don't buy, you don't take any action, you just show up there. The technology today allows me to know who you are. So if you just show up on one of the pages that I have, I could follow you all over the internet through something called retargeting. And I could just put ads, different ads, ad number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can have a cadre of ads that just follow you wherever you go, on CNN, on Fox, on wherever you go, and I could serve up, hey, would you like this free report? Hey, would you like to have more information on this? I could follow you all over the internet until you buy or die. And until you click, it doesn't cost me anything. And you don't have to do anything other than show some interest. And then I could get strategic and just follow you all over the place and put you into a process. And the process isn't, hey, do you want to buy my stuff? No. Hey, let me give you something. Let me engage with you. Let me show you that I care about you. And then I could follow everything that you, or I could follow you everywhere you go, only for one purpose, to try and serve you. And if I keep doing that, and you keep seeing my name over and over and over and over and over and over again, wherever you go, I am building my brand. 2, I'm going to get you to pay attention sooner or later with one of the offers that we have. When we think about psychology, all right, what we're thinking about is how people think and what do people do and what do people feel. And so the first thing to understand is people do not buy your product or your service. They don't buy that. You didn't buy, an airplane ticket. You bought a means of transportation to get you to San Diego to come to this event so you would benefit, okay, from the knowledge, the skills, the strategies, the wisdom of the people that are here to share with you and teach you, didn't you? So you bought the benefit of that. And if you can understand what is the benefit of your product or service, if you want to go deeper, what's the benefit of the benefit, you can then appeal so much more to people's brains and their psychology of how and why they make decisions to buy. So people buy the benefit of your product or service. People buy that as their number one reason for making a decision. And they may not tell you that. The other thing people buy is the promise. If you buy my product or service, and I promise you this, right? You're buying the transformation of that promise. If you take Tums, you're buying the promise that your stomach will feel better. If you eat certain foods, you're buying the promise that it'll feel good and it'll taste good and you'll have this experience. And so we're buying the benefit, we're buying the promise, you're buying the transformation, and all of this is in your manual, just so you know as well. And so that's what people really buy. And if you really want to get strategic, 90% of buying decisions, people are moving away from a pain, a fear, a frustration, an irritation that they have versus moving towards something that they want that's better. 90% of people that are searching online are searching as a result of moving away from an emotion or a feeling that they have versus moving towards what they do want. I don't care if they're looking for retirement planning, if they're looking for a book, if they're looking for a sex toy, it makes no difference. They're moving away from something they're not experiencing or feeling right now. And when you understand how to market to their deep, deep needs, their psychological needs, then you can start to create compelling marketing messages that people get attracted to that allow them to enter into your sales and marketing process for the purpose of serving them. I learned many, many years ago that business isn't about doing something to somebody. It's finding somebody who has a need that you can serve, that then wants to continue doing business with you and refer all their friends and family to you because you've taken such amazing care of them. So you don't build a business for a year, build a business for a lifetime and a legacy that'll go beyond you. And so when we think about this, does this make sense to all of you? Are you following this right now? Or are you selling the features of your business product or service? Yes. So there's only 3 ways to make more money in business. There aren't 25, there's only 3. Number 1 is to make more sales to new customers. Make more sales to new customers. In order to make more sales to new customers, you need to have a lead generation machine. Whether it's radio, television, billboards, online, offline, door knocking, direct sales, doesn't make a difference. You need to understand that making more sales to new customers is number one. It is the most expensive way to sell, to generate new customers, but that's number one. Number two is when somebody buys from you, the second best way to make money is to offer them something to go with that purchase. So if somebody buys product A, McDonald's made this extremely famous. Would you like fries with that burger? And would you like the meal, the Happy Meal pack with the drink also? That's called an upsell. And there's also something called a downsell. If they say no to that, say, oh, well, would this be something you want? The best time to sell somebody something else is at the time they buy the first thing. That's the best time. So if you're in the service business and somebody shows up, or somebody shows up, or you show up to provide somebody the service, or they show up to get the service, the best time to offer them something else, a maintenance plan, a preventative plan, is at the time they're making the first purchase. They're already emotionally engaged, and when you open up the emotional channels of the brain, the logical brain will take over. And if you offer them an amazing deal to make that decision, if you can increase your at time of purchase sales by 10 or 15 or 20%, and you can increase the amount of leads you get by 10, 15, 20%, you have an exponential growth in your revenues and profits. 10 or 15% on the lead generation, 10 or 15% on the upsell doesn't mean 10 or 15% growth. It becomes exponential. And then the third way to make money in business is to get people to buy again and to refer business to you. Now, you can make money in business by lowering your costs, but the three ways is make more sales to new customers, sell more at the time that they buy the first product or the second product or the third product, and three, create a referral system and a repeat business cycle in your business that people will consistently want to come back to you. If you only allow them to come back one time and you don't stay in touch with them, then you are making a huge mistake in growing a business. You're working way too hard in your business. So here's what this looks like, all right, as a sales and marketing process. So first, you've got to identify who is your perfect profile of a client. See, there's 7.2 billion people on the planet. They're not all your customers. Not everybody wants what you have, contrary to your belief. All right, so you have to develop what we call a perfect client profile. Are they male, female, gay, white, African American? What is the profile of the individual, okay, that is most likely to want and need what you have? Number two is you've got to create lead generation systems, which I'll show you in just a moment, to draw in your perfect clients. You've got to create some lead generation systems. And then you've got to create lead capture and qualification mechanisms. All right, how are you going to capture that prospect to engage with you? How are you going to qualify that they're the right person at the right time that can afford what you have so you don't waste their time or yours? And then what you've got to figure out is how do you convert that person from being a suspect to a prospect to a customer that you love and adore for the lifetime of your relationship. You've got to think about all this stuff in advance, and then you create, once you have that engagement, before they buy and after they buy, what we call a lead nurturing or a prospect nurturing system that for the most part, for 85, 90% of business, you can automate versus having to use manpower with today's technology. When you develop your perfect client profile, you know exactly who he or she is and how to talk to them. You know exactly what their pains, fears, frustrations, wants, and needs are because you have done your homework. And if you know somebody's pains, fears, frustrations, irritations, doubts, anxieties, and you know what their goals and dreams are, is it easier to meet them where they are with your marketing message or your outbound calling or your radio advertising or your television advertising for that matter? Now, what do people do? Do they do more to gain pleasure or do they do more to avoid pain? More to avoid pain. And so if you know that people do more to avoid pain, either one that is current or one that's imagined that may happen in the future, you can develop marketing messages and processes to help them avoid that pain, that fear, the frustration or irritation, and future pace them, show them the benefit and the transformation and the promise of your product or service in advance so they can experience it. And you do that through building the trust and the rapport and through social proof and evidence that what you're saying and what you have works. And then you can start to create your lead generation strategies, which are plentiful. There's no shortage of what you can do. What narrows what you can do will be determined by your financial and non-financial resources. So for some of you, you have zero marketing budget. That's okay. You've got to develop marketing and sales strategies with a zero-based budget. It doesn't make sense for us to talk to you about television if you don't have the funds to do television unless you know how to barter for television, which is a strategy you can use. And then what you have to take a look at is the world of possibilities today is endless. There's SEO, there's webinars, there's direct mail, there's PPC, there's advertising, there's viral marketing, there's joint ventures, there's television, there's so many different things that you can do, but knowing the universe of what you can do is absolutely a waste of time until you understand where we started yesterday and earlier today is what is your vision, what is your purpose, what are your goals, what are your financial and non-financial abilities, what role do you play, what position do you play, and then who's going to fill in those boxes so that your vision is set for each one of the departments in your company, the marketing is done, the sales is done, the management is done, and the implementation can be done to completion. One of my favorite things to teach and focus on is this: do less better to completion. Do less, do fewer things better, but do it to completion. There's a lot of people who are amazing starters. You know what I find the most successful people are able to do? Finish. They're able to finish. They can take the puck or the ball or whatever it is to the end zone and finish the play. And so then you create lead capture, either pages or processes. And so lead capture is just a methodology where you can create a form, and I'll give you the ones that we use in just a couple moments, and you can create all of these lead capture pages that either get them to call you or get them to give you their first name and email or their phone number, and you can start the relationship. And so this is one for our Brainathon. Here's another one for our Brainathon. So it's just, a little bit of marketing, a 6-hour video webcast event with John Assaraf as 5 of the world's top brain experts. So that's what you get. Reserve your spot. And then we start the nurturing sequence. All right? So here's another lead capture page. Now, there's a company called leadpages.net. Leadpages.net. They just raised $5 million, so they're going to be around for a little bit. And what they do is they provide these pages, these templates, that you can use, put your own language in them, and you've got the template already done, and it costs, $200 to join them. And the beautiful thing about lead pages is that they tell you which pages are converting the highest every week amongst all of their clients. So instead of just figuring it out, just say, here's the top 10 converting web pages or lead pages. I like number 7 and I like number 2. Let's just use those. Let's get some really good copy so that's engaging. You don't have to figure any of this stuff out anymore. It's already done for you. All right? And so you can test different pages with video, without video, with an offer, without an offer. And then inside any of your pages, you can create call to actions for whether it's a book, a video, a report, a discount, a consultation, a free trial, something that you can test. And the beautiful thing is, as soon as they click on any of these pages that you have, whether they take action or they don't, you could keep track of them. You know who they are. There's something called pixels that you can put on every page, or your web map. I don't know how to do this, by the way. I don't do any of this. I just know that this can be done, and I love to study this stuff. And I've got a team that does this, and there's outsourced people that do this. I've got an in-house team and an outsourced team that does this. All right, and that way you can start process number 4, which is your lead conversion process. And in order to convert the lead, you've got to create some amazing offers. And the amazing offer is either to, get something for free, or get an appointment, or whatever it is, you've got to make it amazing. Whatever you do, one of my friends, Brian Halligan, the CEO of HubSpot, said, whatever you do, make it remarkable so people remark about it. Whatever you do, make it remarkable so people remark about it. And so in our particular case, we have been really promoting our Brainathon, and we do it once a year with 4 or 5 brain experts, and then we use the recording for the whole following year to generate income in an automated fashion. And we've got a variety of different things that we do this way. And so once people are on the Brainathon, then we offer them our Winning the Game of Money program. That's a $1,000 product. It's actually worth a lot more. It's about a $3,000 or $4,000 package that we offer them for $1,000. And this is without speaking to anybody. We're selling $1,000 products without speaking to anybody on the phone. It's all automated. And then we have really nice graphics to show them what they get and order buttons. And then during the webinars, we do live chat so they can speak to people, in the program, so they feel like they're having an experience. And then once they buy the first program, we say, hey, while you're here, would you like to own one of our other programs at a great discount? And 5, 6, 7, 8, 10% of the people opt to buy another one of our programs right there. Now, just remember, this is all automated. Do you like that? Would you like to do it for you? Yeah. And so this is where the lead nurturing part of a business should be, is if 3% of the people are ready to buy now, you give them that opportunity. If 17 need to be nurtured, then you nurture them until they buy from you or refer to you and develop the relationship with you. And then there's 80% that you just keep in a nurturing sequence, because sometime in the next, whether it's month or 2 years, they're going to need your product or service, or they're going to have somebody that needs your product or service. You move it from the 80 to the 17, from the 17 to the 3. And all of this should be automated. 80 are people that don't have any need or want for your product or service right now, but sometime in the future they might. And so you don't want to just, invest the time and the money to get them into your orbit. If you can automate the process of communication with them, why not keep them engaged for as long as you can? You've already invested the money to create the engagement, so why not keep them nurtured? And so you can keep them nurtured through reminders. You can keep them nurtured, through animated videos or different things. And you do that by developing your sales process. Hey, this is John, and if you liked that video, watch the next video, because it is packed with things that you can do right now to achieve success way faster than ever before.